This is ABC 30 Action News AM Live.
And in our next half hour, drawing attention to the drought, when and where hundreds of people will take to the streets to march for water. Hundreds of farmers and farm workers will march side by side for 4 days later this week to bring attention to the state's lack of water. As Action News anchor Liz Harrison shows us, the California Latino Water Coalition has arranged the march to wind through the west side of Fresno County, one of the areas of California most ravaged by the water crisis.
Fresno County Supervisor Phil Larson has watched his district literally dry up. Parched ground has led to dry farms, which has led to empty wallets and 40% unemployment in some towns.
And everybody says this is a famine. It's not a famine, it's an environmentally caused drought. Because we've had shorter water years than this and got 30% water. Now all of a sudden we got nothing because of Endangered Species Act rules.
City and county leaders, farmers, community organizers, and law enforcement have all come together to plan for next week's March for Water. A march that's hoped will bring nationwide attention to the Central Valley's desperate water situation.
But we've laid down for 25 years getting our ass kicked. And we're not going to lay down this time. I'm not, because this is the end for me. If it don't happen, this is the end.
Westside farmers like Bob Diedrich say if they don't receive any water by the end of the month, their land will lie fallow for at least the next year. The march route will go through the towns of Mendota and Fireball, west to I-5 and north to the San Luis Reservoir. Thousands from all over the state are expected to turn out.
I've been meeting in Sacramento with numerous organizations throughout the state, and they've been coming to us saying, hey, we're taking people, we're gone.
Liz Harrison, Action News AM Live.
Our top story on your Tuesday morning, thousands of protesters prepare to march for water.
Farm owners, farm workers, labor leaders, they're all coming together to draw attention to the ongoing water crisis. Now, the march begins this morning in Mendota and it ends Friday at the San Luis Reservoir. The rally begins this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. The first leg of the march will take protesters from Mendota to Fireball. And as CBS 47's Justin Sacher tells us, protesters are hoping to accomplish a lot.
I will be there. Because, as you know, since I've come into office, I've been talking about the importance of creating water infrastructure.
Governor Schwarzenegger will be one of thousands on a 4-day march for water. They want to show lawmakers across the country that federal water regulation meant to protect the environment is causing people to suffer.
Unless some water starts flowing, their life as they've known it is over.
Pumping the water is necessary to irrigate crops, but it's now against the law. Pumping threatens a species of fish called the Delta smelt. Marchers feel the cost of this protection is too great.
Whether it's vegetables, fruits, anything, it's got to be grown somewhere, and it's grown here, but it can't be done if there's no water.
Day one of the march begins in Mendota and goes to Fireball.
We have buses that will pick them up and take them back to their point of origin. So each day they can go to their own homes or respective families.
The governor is optimistic.
I think we're literally a few weeks away, maybe a month, from coming to an agreement.
Organizers tell me they don't really know how many people to expect for the beginning of the 4-day march, but as you can tell by the more than 12 portable restrooms, they're prepared for a large crowd. In Mendota, Justin Sacher, CBS 47, on your side.
And, of course, stay with CBS 47 for continuing coverage of the California Water March. In our next half hour, we're going to be talking to comedian Paul Rodriguez. He's from Orange Cove, and he also is taking part in that protest.
This is ABC 7 News at 6.
Well, as you'd expect, California farmers have been especially hard hit by the drought and by water cutbacks designed to revive threatened fish populations. So today, thousands of people whose livelihood depends on water began a 5-mile march starting from the farm community of Mendota, where unemployment is now 40%. Reporter Graciela Moreno has our story.
Children, perhaps, who grew off a farm.
It was comedian Paul Rodriguez who got the crowd fired up this morning in Mendota.
Our only goal today is to make enough of a noise, enough of an impact, so that the legislatures in Sacramento who are meeting right now will grow a backbone.
That's right.
As chair of the California Latino Water Coalition, Rodriguez says he is angry that legislators have ignored the Central Valley's desperate water needs for so long.
Can anybody live without water? I don't think so. I feel stupid trying to convince people of an issue that is so simple.
Growers and several thousand farm workers hit the road, marching along the fields where they would normally be working. Due to drought conditions and 0% water allocations, the unemployment rate in most of the area hovers between 25 and 40%.
Estoy desempleado por lo mismo.
I am unemployed for that same reason, says truck driver Oscar Serrano. So I am here to support the march because it affects all of us. Their message to legislators was spelled out on their shirts and handheld signs, as well as up in the sky and on the side of dozens of semi-trucks and tractor trailers. Like foreign oil, this one said, let's see how you like foreign food.
This is the breadbasket of the world. This region provides the lettuce, the tomatoes, everything you can possibly think of to the entire state. So that's why the North and the South need to sympathize with what we're doing out here.
According to the Westlands Water District, 250,000 acres will not be farmed this year due to the lack of water. Third-generation farmer Lisa Grignani says the state has not begun to feel the ramifications in the valley's west side.
We're operating only off of well water. Well water's a slow for all of our permanent crops out there. It's only a Band-Aid. It's not a solution.
Organizers expect to pick up even more demonstrators as they continue their march for water. Their 50-mile trek ends Friday with a massive rally at their final destination, the San Luis Reservoir. In West Fresno County, Graciela Moreno, ABC 7 News.
You're watching KMPH Fox 26. And now, the Valley's primetime newscast. This is the KMPH 10 o'clock news.
I feel stupid trying to convince people of an issue that is so simple.
A popular comedian joins thousands of farm workers to call attention to a serious and growing valley crisis. Good evening, I'm Monty Torres.
And I'm Mariana Duarte. Thank you for joining us. Our top story at 10. Thousands take to the streets to shed light on the Central Valley's water problems.
The four-day march to the San Luis Reservoir kicks off today with thousands braving the dust and wind to see their voices heard.
The goal is to draw attention to the valley's water crisis and get water flowing to the west side.
We are unable to function, we are unable to grow, we are unable to work without water.
Comedian turned activist Paul Rodriguez was at the forefront of Tuesday's march to get water flowing to the valley's west side.
Water is needed by any living thing, and we have it in abundance, and we want it.
Rodriguez led a crowd of about 4,000 farm workers, growers, and their supporters as the first in a four-day march kicked off in Mendota, where unemployment has now surpassed 40%.
Si no hay agua, no hay trabajo.
Sandra Bonilla was among the marchers hoping to catch the attention of lawmakers. She says without water, there are no jobs, and communities like hers won't be able to survive.
It sends a message that this town, this valley, is expendable. The people here, the kids here, just don't quite measure up in importance to the people of the rest of the state and the rest of the country, and that's not right.
A combination of drought and court-ordered cutbacks aimed at protecting the endangered Delta smelts have had a devastating impact on the ag community. Organizers say they hope the week-long march will push lawmakers to act fast.
Most of these people have never had dirt under their nails. They don't know what farming is. They say ridiculous, asinine things like, well, we'll see if we can get you water next year. We'll get you a bigger number allocation. Well, you can't tell a tree not to drink water for a year. You won't have a tree. You'll have firewood,
The march continues tomorrow through Merced County and wraps up Friday with a rally at the San Luis Reservoir. To view the entire interview with comedian Paul Rodriguez, log on to our website at kmph.com.